Today, the moon enters the fiery, action-oriented sign of Aries, but this is not just any Aries moon. After the moon enters Aries at 7:03 a.m. Pacific time, it joins in a conjunction with Mercury in Aries at 8:16 a.m. Pacific time. And then at 11:45 a.m. Pacific time, the moon forms a conjunction with Neptune. 3:08 p.m. Pacific time, the moon in an exact conjunction with Mars. And 7:37 p.m. Pacific time, the moon conjunct Saturn. So this Aries moon activates a stellium of 4 planets, 2 outer planets, Neptune and Saturn, 2 inner planets or personal planets, as we call them, Mercury and Mars. And then the moon, of course, that faster moving, moody energy that comes through Aries and activates all 4 of these planets that are already activating each other, sending more and more fuel to that Aries energy of fire, of action, of flaming up, of moving quickly. I'm Marina Orms here with your Astro Vibe for Wednesday, April 15th. So how do we think about this? How do we think about this Aries action, this day of things moving quickly or flaring up or coming to the surface? Think about that energy of inflammation when things are inflamed, when the anger and the irritability and the redness comes to the surface. That is some of what we are working with. So the other thing, though, is that you have this energy of new beginnings. So underlying the moon, activating all of these planets, you have what's going on below the surface, which is the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and then Mars entering Aries, activating those 2 outer planets that are at the very beginning of their cycle that lasts 36 years, 35 years. And then you also have Mercury bringing in that, because why not? Why not throw Mercury in there, right? Let's add that dimension of communication and information processing and how we understand and make sense of what we are hearing. So Mercury has now entered Aries. It hasn't quite gotten to Neptune, Mars, and Saturn yet, but it's heading that way, and that will unfold over the next few days. But today is that moon energy coming in. Remember, the moon is the mood of the day, so the mood of the day is already action-oriented. And then it's activating. So think big picture, that Neptune-Saturn energy at the very, very beginning of their big cycle, this 35-year cycle. And they're at the beginning of that, where Saturn comes in and brings form, structure, to embodiment to the bigger picture of Neptune's dreams, imagination, the bigger picture of what guides us, what our hearts want, what is true in that bigger picture of wisdom. So we can be manifesting what our hearts most deeply desire through this Saturn-Neptune conjunction, or we can be clinging to the delusions and the illusions, the fantasy that we want, but is not realistic, or is, what's realistic is that it takes real work and real effort. So it's not that it's a fantasy in the sense that we can't have what our hearts want. It is a fantasy in the sense that we think it will be easy, or that there won't be work or effort involved. So that's the real reminder of Saturn, that there is effort, that this is going to take time. Saturn is the Lord of time, and so it doesn't happen overnight. But then you have Mars coming in to activate those two planets. And Mars says, let's get this party going. Like it's bringing the match to light whatever you've been ruminating on. And it says, let's go. And of course, the first planet that Mars formed its conjunction with was Neptune. So, sparks of dreams, imagination, that bigger picture of wisdom. That was Sunday night, early Monday morning, depending on your time zone. And, of course, it, for about a day before and after, at least, we're feeling that. So bringing bringing the spark to the imagination. Now Mars is between Neptune and Saturn, so it's in the middle of this activation, this energy. It's saying it's time. This is time to go for what you want. It's time to take that action, make that move. And then Mercury enters Aries Tuesday night, and then the moon enters Aries Wednesday morning, joining up with again Mercury at 8:16 a.m. So the moon comes through and it says, okay, here is our unconscious, and the moon is what moves us on that unconscious level. So what are we unconsciously bringing to this energy? Are we bringing the energy of support, of humility, of willingness to learn, of connection to that learning process, and what that ability to ultimately create what we want, because we have all the wholeness with us, right? We need all the pieces. We need mind, body, spirit, and emotion all pointing in the same direction. And the moon says, if part of you is pointing in the right direction, but the other part of you is pointing in a different direction, that moon energy, that unconscious energy, is going to have you moving in different directions, and it will feel confusing. It might trip you up. It might make you dizzy. So not literally, but that's what it feels like when it's like if not all of you is aligned in the right direction and doing the work that you need to do to learn, to process your emotions, to connect with spirit, to focus on the here and now in the physical world and the limitations you're dealing with. We have to have all of that. And that's why astrology is important for wholeness, because it has the earth, air, fire, and water components, and we need them all. Okay, anyway, the moon is that unconscious piece. So if we are unconsciously not in alignment, the moon could really trip us up or point out, help us see where we are not in alignment. And ultimately, that could be an uncomfortable process, but ultimately it is trying to help us, right, see how to get everything pointed in the same direction. So the moon moves through, activating Mercury, communication, Neptune, the dreams, Mars, the action, and then Saturn, the reality, the hard realities, the limitations that are in front of us, the boundaries that we need to have in solid, real, grounded ways, the structures, the backbone, the strength, the inner strength that we need to bolster, to take these actions that are going to be important in the long run. So to kind of sum this up, and I know I've introduced a lot of ideas here, but to bring it all sort of together, think about what has been stirring for you, right? Like on a creative level, on a like soul's calling level, like what feels like it's pulling you forward, what's speaking to you, even if you can't fully articulate it, when you feel it in your body and you're like, yes, that is what feels true. what feels right and what feels in alignment with my soul's purpose and my deeper needs. When you are in alignment in that sense, that's where the Aries actions, it's like, this is the time. Take the action, take the risk, do the thing that you've been thinking about. Or, in some cases, it might be test the waters, right? Take this first step and see what happens. So, but the point is, get outside your comfort zone, because you won't get there until you get outside your comfort zone. And this Aries energy is really supportive and helpful for you to take those uncomfortable actions, as long as you know what you want. And again, you don't have to like be able to fully articulate it, but you feel it in your body. It feels true. It feels right. So checking in with yourself, and then saying, when you feel that yes, then take the risk, do the thing, take that action step. And that will accelerate your ability to figure it out, to figure out where you're going and how to get there. If you are not clear about what's important and true and right, then you're going to have those impulses, those Aries impulses, the reactivity that can come with Aries, that inflammation, the flames coming to the surface, the anger, right? The things that we have put a lid on could come exploding out. And that's what we don't want to do with this energy. I mean, yeah, it's certainly okay to speak up, to speak your truth, to, let your anger come out, or whatever needs to be expressed. That's okay, as long as you are grounded within yourself, so that you can either regroup afterwards and kind of smooth things over, or say, here's what I really wanted to accomplish. Maybe what I said was a little bit bold or rash or whatever, and it's not always a bad thing, but always thinking about your objectives. Is this helping me reach my objectives? And is this strategically where I need to go? So the Aries moon today, activating all these planets, could build up the energy in a way that you just want to smash the door down. So just be clear about what you're doing. And that's, I guess, what I want to say is, and again, take an action. It's okay to fall down. It's okay to make a mistake. We just, again, don't want to make a mistake in that worst case scenario way, where there's, something that can't be fixed later. So just know who you are, know where you are, and take that deep breath. Take a step back if you need to. If you feel like the energy is building up and you just need an extra moment, take it, because that will serve you well. But also, when you are centered within yourself, if it is coming from the heart, from the truth, from your purpose, from and for your objectives, then do it, right? Take that action, take that risk. Don't be afraid. Find the courage. This is the moment. You are supported. So those are my thoughts. I hope that's helpful. And, we'll see what happens. Let me know how your day goes. And thank you so much for being here. I'm Marina Orms. Thank you for subscribing to this YouTube channel. I'm here every day with astrology for unshakable self-care. I will see you next time. Bye for now.